Hello, Colorado Realtors. I'm Scott Peterson, and thank you for joining me for another edition, a very special holiday edition of Legal Bites. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do we know it's the holiday edition of Legal Bites? Seems like a reasonable question. I can tell because of my holiday eggnog, non-alcoholic, of course. Look out. And also by my watch. It's December 20th, which means it is the holidays. Oh, and also this silly elf outfit that I'm wearing, thanks to those of you that voted on the outfit that I'd be wearing for this special holiday edition of Legal Bites. I think it's quite becoming myself. What you can't see are my delightful elf shoes. This may just stay on for the rest of the month. In any event, I don't have my slide deck today because we've got our fantastic holiday background, but it's going to be a very risk management light version of Legal Bites, but an important one nonetheless. I'm going to be talking about paragraph 30 of the contract to buy and sell, as most of you will know and commonly refer to it as the additional provisions paragraph of the contract to buy and sell. And guess what? It doesn't say anything. It's blank. How fantastic is that? Probably the least complicated, at least in the pre-printed form, paragraph in the entire contract to buy and sell, because again, it doesn't say anything. But for those of you that have heard me speak about it in the past, you know that I believe it is one of the highest potential for broker liability paragraphs in the entire contract. Why? Because as you're completing the additional provisions of the contract to buy and sell, you are practicing law. There's no other way to describe it really. You're flat out practicing law as you complete the additional provisions of the contract. Now the good news is you're licensed to practice law. That falls within your limited license to practice law in completing the blanks of the pre-printed form. So it's okay that you're practicing law, but it also creates the most liability for you during the course of completing that provision. And as you start to see that blank go from one or two sentences maybe to zip. That was fun. As you see it get longer and longer, the more and more sentences, the more and more verbiage you have in that paragraph, the more and more liability that the brokers create for themselves and for their clients. And as you guys know, you're dealing with 6- and 7-figure transactions, so you don't want to create liability. So my caution for you is this. Use your limited license to practice law, and particularly in the additional provisions section, in the most cautious, reasonable way as you can, and don't get into drafting clauses or additional provisions that go beyond what you're comfortable doing and that fall within your brokerage competency. Because remember, if you screw things up in there while you're allowed to complete those blanks, or to complete that blank, if you're screwing things up, then it can still have an impact on the commission's decisions related to broker competency. And moreover, you run the risk of creating liability, contractual liability for your client, and that creates errors and omissions liability for you. So do be cautious as you're using paragraph 30 of the contract to buy and sell. As simple as it might seem on its face, the longer it gets, the more complex it gets, the more liability that you create for yourself. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a very, very happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. You all should be so thankful that you...
Stop messing around, get back to work.
He's an angry elf. Happy holidays.
No singing in the North Pole.
Happy holidays. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Legal Bites, and have a fantastic holiday to all of you Colorado Realtors. Thanks for your membership, and we're going to look forward to a fantastic 2018. Take care. Woo!